There is really one thing I really hate on in politics and when it happens, and I don't like it when it goes on in any party, and that is a party defection where someone defects to another party. I really do not like it. I think that it is hugely unfair, first of all, to the people of that area who, well, specifically voted for that person based on, their party. That's sort of how our system works in many ways. You really prioritize the party over the person in a lot of cases, in a lot of areas. So I feel it really is bad for when someone switches, be it either they switch to like Labour, or maybe it's like in this case, someone was a Tory and now they've switched to Reform, or even if someone was a Reform and they switched to a different party. I would call it out. I would think it is just not fair to those people in that area who voted specifically for that party. I don't think it's fair at all. And in fact, I really do think it should really trigger, quite frankly, a by-election. I think they should have to really stand again before that party and see if, their constituencies really do want that party in charge. But not surprisingly, of course, as I said, I thought we would be seeing quite a few of these Tory councillors jumping ship over to Reform. So far, it hasn't happened quite as much as I thought it might, but who knows? Maybe it will start off as a trickle and eventually become a flood. Like I say, the next big elections is, of course, in 2026, next year. That will be quite a big local election when it happens. So maybe we could see maybe some over the summer, maybe some as it picks up steam. Maybe we could see some of the stuff. But as always, we don't know. We wait to see, of course, what happens. But of course, it has happened in Wakefield, which is, of course, just up the road from where I am. And as I said, I do not like it when any candidate from another party decides to jump ship to another party. I just think it's unfair to the people who originally voted in that election. And of course, last time they got to have that, of course, local election was, of course, back in 2024. So it really sort of has not been that long in many ways since this person got elected, but he's now jumped ship, and we'll get into the reasons why he's jumped ship in a moment. But before we do get on into that, please remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page, the One Off Donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button as well, where it's again One Off Donation link, and of course, as always, there's the YouTube membership button below as well. So thank you very much to everyone who does help and support the channel that way. So let's crack on then over to this, the Wakefield Express, with Wakefield gets its first Reform councillor as Tory quits to join party. So, a Conservative councillor in Wakefield has now quit the party to join Reform UK. Nick Farmer, the councillor now for Ossett, becomes Reform's first ever member on the Wakefield Council following the announcement. Councillor Farmer, who represented the ward for over 11 years, has said that he has now lost belief in the Tories and would rather sit as a Reform member until his term office ends in May of 2026. So, even then, it is May of 2026. That's when the next elections are. Which again isn't, too long, but I still find it vastly unfair of someone just deciding, I'm no longer being part of this party now. Even if, as he claims, he has a good reason for it. Oh, I just, lost belief in the party. They should have to stand for a by-election again. I really do think any defection, be it at a local level or even like an MP level, should automatically trigger a by-election. I really do believe that. Councillor Farmer said it would, of course, stand as Reform candidate if he decided now to seek re-election, of course, next year, which I somehow think he might do that. In a statement, he said, I have now reached the point where I can no longer sit as a Conservative on Wakefield Council now with good conscience. For that reason, I'm resigning today, the Conservative whip, and joining Reform UK, whose colours I now shall sit for the remainder of my term of office. I can no longer promote the Conservative brand when I no longer believe in it. Again, jumping ship because I think he sees, or he's shall we say, making an early bet to say which way the wind is going. Councillor Farmer, who first got elected back in 2014, has now defended his seat out on two different occasions, criticised both the Conservative and Labour governments. He said that basic services are now failing local people, opportunity is now being extinguished, and freedom of thought and conscience is now being eradicated with every parliamentary edict. I mean, I'm sorry, but free speech is not being eradicated by parliamentary edicts on that. Our leaders lied to us repeatedly as they sign all away our ability now to properly govern ourselves as a nation. I wonder what he thinks of some of the stuff that Nigel Farage has done over the past, but there you go. With Reform UK, I believe I will be more free to speak out when I see things which are not in the country's interests. Really, what is being a member of the Conservatives that now he's a member of Reform UK stop him from speaking out against? I, hmm, hmm. This government has, of course, banned further development of North Sea oil and gas fields. Instead, we pipe oil and gas in from Norway, which is extracted now from the very same North Sea. Again, that is because the oil is getting way, way, way more expensive. I think it's something like, for it to be profitable, it has to be like above, I think it's like $20 a barrel now, or something like that. It's something really expensive. Where you look at OPEC, where it's currently like $8 a barrel, because they're massively stepping up production at the moment. The North Sea oil, to just the very cost of extracting it, has just become way too expensive. And again, it's just the reality of what's going on, but he doesn't acknowledge that, of course. Meanwhile, our heavy industries, of course, leaves or demands now huge taxpayer subsidies as families are now faced with the world's most expensive energy. Again, heavy industries rely on big taxpayer subsidies, again, mostly for energy. That is, again, because of Conservative stuff, mainly going into gas, heavily in gas. And then, of course, everything going on in Russia, which has caused that price to skyrocket. Again, other things going on in the world that, again, this guy doesn't take into account. We know, of course, it doesn't make sense. And we've got a government who will do something about it. That is why I'm going to do from here on. This announcement, of course, means now the Conservatives just hold 2 out of the 63 council seats. Labour hold 52 seats, the Liberal Democrats have 2, Reform have 1, and there are now 6 independents. A number of councillors now from different parties also resigned in recent months. Back in March, Lib Dem group leader quit the party but continues to represent Nottingham as an independent. The very same month, Jacob Williamson, Stan Bates, and Emily Stan Bates became independents after being suspended by Labour now for refusing to support the council's budgetary proposals. Earlier this month, Michael Grimm, former cabinet member for Regeneration and Economic Growth, left Labour to become independent, saying now he'd lost faith in the party. This is the guy, I think I've mentioned him. I can't remember if it's this guy or it might be this guy, Kevin Smith. I can't remember which one, but one of these guys, basically, when he became an independent, basically was saying, like, almost auditioning for like Reform UK, and the stuff he was saying on that. I can't remember which one it was, but it was one of these two that did it. Last week, he's also confirmed Kevin Swift was now longer Labour member and listed now as an independent on the council's website. I think he should stand again. I think there should be a by-election and see if the people in his ward actually want a Reform member. But again, something that highly annoys me when anyone from any party does it. Frustrates me to no end because I think it should automatically trigger, to be honest, a by-election. I think it is unfair to the people in that constituency who voted to have a Conservative or to have someone in Labour or to have someone in, the Lib Dems, Greens, etc. Pick your party. I think it's unfair when they were voted in on that ticket. They've now changed. I think it's entirely unfair. I think it, quite frankly, should be triggering a by-election. But as always, let me know what you think down below. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.